While the basketball court is empty for now, a flurry of activity in Alabama's legal courts and a battle to figure out which schools can compete in the boys' state tournament. At the heart of it all, the Oakwood Adventist Academy boys basketball team, top ranked in its division, but barred from the playoffs for playing too many games this season. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman joins us live in this studio. A lot happening with this case, Gabe. What's the latest development?
Yeah, Kenesha, we told you yesterday the Alabama High School Athletic Association sanctioned the school last week for that rules violation you just mentioned. Now, since then, conflicting orders from judges in Montgomery and Jackson counties have forced the hand of AHSAA, which said it had no choice but to postpone the 1A Area 16 game until a higher court could settle the matter. Now, we can confirm the decision is in. In court documents obtained by Fox 54, the Alabama High School Athletic Association filed an appeal that would essentially throw out conflicting temporary restraining orders and allow the AHSAA to decide who would play. Our team learned late tonight the court ordered both parties, Jackson County Board of Education and Oakwood Adventist Academy, to respond to the AHSAA's petition for mandamus. We can confirm those responses were filed earlier tonight, and a decision has been made. This document from the Alabama Court of Civil Appeals throws out the TROs made in Montgomery and Jackson County, and it reads, the decision of the Alabama High School Athletic Association shall stand, meaning Oakwood Adventist Academy is out. Woodville will advance to play Ider in the 1A Area 16 Tournament Championships. Earlier this afternoon, we spoke to the attorney representing Oakwood Adventist about the arguments they made.
The rules that the AHSAA enforces, the handbook, expressly limits the punishment for an institution that uses an ineligible player, in this case someone who played in more than 30 games, to a retrospective punishment. It expressly limits that punishment to a forfeiture of the game they played while they had ineligible players. On the flip side, the handbook says that students who play while ineligible have a prospective punishment, and they need to sit out future games. So what happened is we only had two students who played in more than 30 games, and so the punishment should have been that the two students had to sit out for the playoff game instead of the whole entire school.
The AHSAA confirmed tonight the 1A Area 16 Tournament Championship between Woodville and Ider will be played tomorrow night. A high school basketball tournament in North Alabama has turned into a battle in a different kind of court involving two counties, two judges, and now the State Court of Appeals. At the center of it all is Oakwood Adventist Academy, which played one too many basketball games this season. And just over an hour ago, we learned the appeals court sided with the AHSAA, upholding the rule that Oakwood is ineligible. Now, AHSAA Executive Director Heath Harbin will decide when the tournament will continue. But here's the question people are asking: why is a Jackson County judge getting involved in a case about a school that's not even in Jackson County? We verify. Oakwood Adventist Academy is in Huntsville, the heart of Madison County, and the Alabama High School Athletic Association is headquartered in Montgomery and Montgomery County. So how did this case end up in Jackson County Circuit Court? Let's verify. Our sources are court documents from both Montgomery and Jackson counties and the AHSAA handbook. Here's what we found. On February 5th, the AHSAA ruled Oakwood ineligible for the playoffs after the school self-reported playing 31 regular season games, one more than the league's 30-game limit. Oakwood then filed an action in Montgomery County Circuit Court February 9th. Montgomery is home to the AHSAA, and a judge there issued a temporary restraining order on the 10th, saying Oakwood could play. Hours later, the Jackson County Board of Education filed its own suit in Jackson County Circuit Court. But why did the Jackson County Board of Education get involved? The court document says it was filed, quote, for the benefit of Woodville High School and Skyline High School. Both of those schools are in Jackson County, and both would be competing in the same Area 16 tournament as Oakwood. The Jackson County judge issued a conflicting order saying Oakwood was out. Now here's where it gets interesting. According to court documents, the AHSAA handbook includes a mandatory venue provision. It says any lawsuit against the AHSAA, quote, for any reason, must be filed in Montgomery County. Oakwood's attorneys argue that Jackson County schools can't get around the rule by having their county board of education file a suit for them. They also argue the Board of Education doesn't have legal standing to file the action because it's not the board that's directly affected, it's the individual schools. That legal tug of war led to 2 judges in 2 different counties issuing conflicting orders. Yes, and if you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692.
The immigration crackdown in Minnesota that led to mass detentions, protests, and 2 deaths is coming to an end.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement launched Operation Metro Surge on December 1st. Federal authorities say the sweeps focused on the Minneapolis and St. Paul metro area have led to the arrest of more than 4,000 people. While the Trump administration has called those arrested, quote, dangerous, criminal, illegal aliens, many people with no criminal records, including children and U.S. citizens, have also been detained.
We've seen a big change here in the last couple of weeks, and it's all good changes. Deployments have dropped dramatically because we have less of that occurring, less of the agitator that crossed that line. That is a good thing. That is a win for everybody, not just for the safety of law enforcement officers. It's a win for this community. With that, and success that has been made arresting public safety threats and other priorities since this surge operation began, as well as the unprecedented levels of coordination we have obtained from state officials and local law enforcement, I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue through the next week. We have a lot of work to do across this country to remove public safety risk who shouldn't even be in this country, and to deliver on President Trump's promise for strong border security and mass deportation. Law enforcement officers drawn down from this surge operation will either return to their duty stations or be assigned elsewhere to achieve just that.
The mother of a Hartselle teenager killed in a high-speed police pursuit last year, pleading with the Senate committee to pass a bill in her son's honor. 17-year-old Tristan Hollis was killed when a car driven by Archie Hale slammed into his car while being pursued by a Priceville police officer. The Tristan Hollis Memorial Act, sponsored by Senator Arthur Orr, would prevent officers from chasing people unless they have probable cause that someone has committed a violent crime. Tristan's mom spoke to the Alabama Senate Judiciary Committee about why this bill could prevent what happened to her son from ever happening again.
The chase smoke spread in hell, and Officer Gary Chapman should not have logically and responsibly exceeded the speeds of 100 miles per hour down Main Street, a street that has only a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, filled with homes, pedestrians, restaurants, and high traffic. Anyone could have been seriously injured or lost their life that night. Unfortunately, it was Tristan and his friends. I never thought that I would be here, standing here today, speaking on behalf of my son's death, asking for a law to pass in honor of him and his memory, so other families and victims do not have to live with this unbearable grief, to hold officers of the state accountable for their actions, to serve and protect, not seek and destroy.
A tearful plea from Tristan's mother. Well, the Senate committee did not vote on the bill after the hearing. The driver, Archie Hale, pictured here, faces murder charges in connection with Tristan's death. He remains in Morgan County Jail without bond.
It's possible we could see some sort of short-term off-ramp here, but at the moment there is still no deal with just one day to go.
The days and nights are moving quickly now on Capitol Hill.
Do I think the parties are on a path that could culminate in a deal? Yes. Will they need more time to get there? Absolutely.
But more time is one thing they don't have. Democrats are still dug in when it comes to immigration enforcement.
They got to get rid of the masks. They don't need to be dressed like tactical operators in Fallujah.
And no face masks is among Democratic demands to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which includes ICE. And that is among the non-starters for Republicans, who are pressing for a short-term extension called a Continuing Resolution, or CR.
We knew Monday we were going to do a CR. It's ridiculous that they're slow playing this, but I guess that's their game.
This is not a distant administrative issue.
At a congressional hearing yesterday, the Vice Commandant of the Coast Guard warned lawmakers that a shutdown could have impacts far beyond immigration enforcement.
The shutdown also erodes mission readiness. Certain training stops, including training for pilots, air crews, and boat crews, who must build and maintain proficiency to operate in hazardous conditions.
Now, even a short-term extension is going to be difficult. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats will not support it right now. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Investigators have done multiple searches in the Tucson area in the last 24 hours, and now they're going back to Nancy Guthrie's front door. Investigators putting up a white tent in front of Nancy Guthrie's front door this morning before walking out of the house with a large black box. Overnight, detectives also conducted another search right by the house on the same road. Investigators found a black glove yesterday.
Was he wearing that glove over the top of other gloves? Then things like skin cells wouldn't be sloughed off. You wouldn't get perspiration. It would be more difficult to take DNA off of that.
Surveillance video showed a masked person wearing dark gloves, along with a backpack and a ski mask. Experts say investigators will search online and in stores in the area to narrow down who may have purchased these items.
They will literally drop them into the surveillance detection systems of those large stores. And if there's a match, anything that is common, like a gate or a pair of sneakers or pants, that will all populate.
Local TV station KVOA reports authorities are also asking neighbors for footage from their door cams from January 11th between 9 p.m. and midnight, as well as January 31st between 9:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. That's one day before Nancy was reported missing.
It's a matter of finding it. It's turning towards analysis of everything that they have, uncovering what is that little nugget that's going to lead them to an ultimate apprehension.
The Pima County Sheriff's Department says it's received 4,000 different tips in the first 24 hours after pushing out that surveillance video. In Tucson, Arizona, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
I want to express my profound gratitude to the first responders, the RCMP officers who entered immediately that school, not knowing what awaited them, to the paramedics and medical staff at the Tumbler Ridge Health Center, to the teachers and the school staff who acted with extraordinary courage to protect the children in their care. In the darkest of moments, they showed the best of our country. I have spoken with Premier Eby to express my condolences and those of the Government of Canada. The Minister of Public Safety has been coordinating the federal response and is en route to Tumbler Ridge with the Premier and Minister Robertson. The MP, Bob Zimmer, is already there. Our officials are in close contact with their provincial and local counterparts to ensure that the community receives every support that we can provide now and in the weeks and months ahead. Mr. Speaker, in the days ahead, there'll be important questions to ask, difficult conversations to have. We owe that to the victims and their families. But now, it's time for grieving and remembrance. Now is for the people of Tumbler Ridge and the Peace River region, for a community that is enduring the unimaginable.
Inside Lazar's Chocolate in Greenvale, hearts and hand-dipped treats are all part of a Valentine's Day tradition.
It's top 3 or 4 days of the whole year.
But this season isn't all sweet. Owner Mark Lazar says tariffs are making things a little tougher.
Anything that comes from overseas in some way or another is affected.
From basic paper supplies to decorative boxes that hold each heart-shaped piece of chocolate, Lazar says those tariffs are now driving up prices.
It makes buying more difficult. It makes pricing your products more difficult.
According to the National Retail Federation, Valentine's Day spending is expected to hit a record $29.1 billion this year. Candy is the most popular gift, followed by greeting cards and flowers. Vanessa Davis, manager of the Village Flower Shop in Williston Park, says business has only become more challenging since 80% of cut flowers sold in the United States are imported. She has little to no choice but to raise prices, with some bouquets now costing more than double what they did just 2 years ago.
The prices, and now it's hard because it's taking more time for the flowers to get here, to ship around Colombia, Ecuador, Peru.
And it's not just flowers. Florists say vases from China cost more, and so does helium for balloons like these. A tank that used to run about $300 is now closer to $500.
And even with higher costs and tighter margins, local shops say the meaning behind the purchase hasn't changed.
Who doesn't want to stay in this kind of business? We sell flowers to make everybody happy.
While prices may be breaking budgets, this season they're not breaking hearts.
My son always sends me something for Valentine's Day. I'll buy a Valentine's Day card and maybe some flowers.
On Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
In uncertain economic times, talking about money can be uncomfortable.
We did a study. We saw that people would rather talk about politics, religion, even their weight. They'd rather talk about that than how much money's in the bank or how much credit card debt they have. It's important to be honest, though.
Kimberly Palmer, personal finance expert at NerdWallet, says that honesty should start early in a relationship.
If there is an issue like one person has credit card debt, it doesn't necessarily have to be a deal breaker. It might just be something that you want to talk through how it's handled and how you'll pay off the debt and avoid building up debt in the future.
And for longtime couples, Ted Rossman, principal analyst for Bankrate, says regular money check-ins are a must-do, starting with budget basics and eventually shared financial goals.
Ideally, over time, you can also talk about more of the long-term aspirational side of this, because that's really what's going to get people motivated, is what are we working towards?
Those conversations, Palmer says, can help couples avoid misunderstandings about money decisions.
Just be open-minded and ask the person, how they arrived at how they are treating money and talking about money. And that can just help you both get on the same page.
Bankrate found baby boomers more likely to say they have in-depth knowledge of their partner's finances. As Rossman points out, they are most likely to completely combine their finances.
James Vanderbeek, who rose to fame in Dawson's Creek, died at 48 following treatment for colorectal cancer. His death follows a trend doctors have seen of rising rates of cancer in young people.
We're now starting to see more and more people in the 20, 30, and 40-year-old range developing colon cancer. At the beginning of my career, nobody that age had colorectal cancer. Now, nearly half of my clinic in Washington, D.C. is under the age of 50.
For anyone worried about colorectal cancer, doctors say to get screened and don't ignore any troubling symptoms.
Just as importantly as if you're under the age of 45 and you are having some symptoms, change in bowel habits, bleeding in the stool, maybe just some funny changes in eating habits, don't ignore that. Don't sit on the sideline with that and literally sit on it. Get on in there and get checked.
Now, Wellness Wednesday on Fox 54 News, sponsored by Regenesis.
We often dismiss the pain of a broken heart as something that just needs time and a box of tissues. But medical professionals warn that the stress of grief can actually alter the shape of your heart. It's called broken heart syndrome, and while the name sounds poetic, the physical reality is anything but. Logan Alexandra Russell explains the scientific link between our emotions and our cardiovascular health this Wellness Wednesday.
It starts with a shock to the system, a phone call, a sudden loss, or an ending you never saw coming. But for some, the emotional pain can quickly transform into a physical emergency.
We literally go through this entire process and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm having a heartbreak and it physically hurts me. So not only are we experiencing a tad bit of grief and loss, we also are experiencing the physical symptoms associated with this major change.
That physical pain is what the Cleveland Clinic calls Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, or broken heart syndrome. While it mimics the chest pain and shortness of breath of a heart attack, there are no blocked arteries.
The heart's been stunned and it's weak, so the tip of the heart may not be working at all. It's sort of ballooned and it has the appearance of what they call Takotsubo, which is an octopus trap. So it just balloons out, so it doesn't contract. The good news is it's temporary. It usually goes away in 1 to 2 weeks and they're back to normal.
While doctors work to stabilize the heart muscle, mental health experts say the brain needs just as much attention. When the body becomes psychosomatic, the fear of the unknown can strain you.
We start to really analyze it, and that fear sets in and it starts to give us heart palpitations. And it's like, oh, I am dying on the inside because I don't know what happens next.
The Cleveland Clinic says that while this condition is rarely fatal, it's a wake-up call, a reminder that protecting your mental health isn't just about your mind, it's about protecting the engine that keeps you alive. In Huntsville, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
The Cleveland Clinic says if you experience sudden chest pain or fainting after a stressful event, don't wait. Go to the emergency room to ensure your heart is okay. And if you want to hear from more of the experts, we have extended interviews on Fox 54 Plus. Download on your TV, watch for free.
Chapel's got a case of the zoomies. Shishi comes in to shake things up.
Super Bowl 60 wasn't the only big game to put up big numbers on Sunday. The 22nd annual Puppy Bowl scored as well, drawing 15.3 million viewers on Animal Planet and its sister stations. That's the adoption-centered program's highest ratings in 8 years and a 20% increase over 2025. On the field, Team Fluff were the top dogs, beating Team Rough 73-69.
They call it the ABA, the American Basketball Association.
There was something fresh in the ABA.
Soul Power, the legend of the American Basketball Association, looks at the 1960s and 70s pro league that gave its rival NBA such innovations as the slam dunk contest and the three-point shot, and such stars as Julius Dr. J. Irving. The documentary premieres today on Prime Video. Slammin' and jammin' in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
This kid got game. I wish I was a baller.
NBA star Stephen Curry trades his high tops for a producer and voiceover role in GOAT. The animated adventure stars Stranger Things' Caleb McLaughlin as a small goat with big hoop dreams. After debuting in IMAX theaters, Mamoru Hosada's Scarlet expands to traditional screens. The film follows a princess on a quest to avenge her father.
Heathcliff, you're not enough. Not for her.
Emily Bronte's literary classic is retold in Wuthering Heights, with Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi starring in the roles of Kathy and Heathcliff.
His name's Blaine. So beautiful.
Blaine? Oh, that's a major appliance. That's not a name.
John Hughes' teenage rom-com Pretty in Pink heads back to theaters for 4 days only in celebration of its 40th anniversary. Details at fathomentertainment.com. Always a duck man in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
With Valentine's Day right around the corner, there's a lot of talk of love in the air. But as more folks start to embrace robot and AI companions, researchers at Arizona State University say the relationship between humans and bots is evolving, but caution how they can't replace the empathy demonstrated by people.
Empathy and genuine kindness, I think, comes from lived experiences, right? I, as a human, can relate when someone feels bad when they're bullied, because as a kid, when I was bullied, I know how that feels. A machine cannot feel that. It can simulate it.
Testing the connection between people and machines, doctors Maura Scott and Martin Mende examine how patients would respond to a human-robot team in a medical setting.
Patients did not like the robot being the team leader, right? They want the robot, the machine, to be supportive, but not in charge.
Going forward, researchers say robots can help people with their manual labor, giving us a chance to pay more attention to the emotional side of things.
Maybe when there is a patient that is heavy, the robot could help that nurse with lifting, and the nurse can focus on more of the human elements.
Still, researchers say talking to robots can be a very personal experience in some ways.
Working with robots kind of forces us to better understand ourselves and what our needs are, and our own comfort levels and our own worries. And so from that standpoint, working with robots is, I think, very enlightening into the human psyche as well.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
Rescuers in Ohio were faced with a unique scenario when they responded to rescue a horse that fell into an icy swimming pool. WCPO reports the 8-year-old mare named Dixie had wandered out of her pasture and stumbled into the pool. Rescuers in wetsuits used tow straps to lead Dixie to the shallow end, where they got her out and immediately swaddled her to get her warm. The Monroe Township Fire Department said the rescue shows the diverse nature of the services it provides. It also said Dixie was checked out by a vet and is in stable condition. No pun intended.
The head of Instagram dismissed the notion that the app is addictive to young users as he took the stand Wednesday. Adam Mosseri says that while he agrees social media companies have a responsibility to keep minors safe, he believes there's a difference between what he called problematic use and clinical addiction. But one mother who lost her son to suicide in 2016 says her son was clearly showing signs of addiction. Other parents in the courtroom who lost children became emotional as eternal emails were read aloud in court Wednesday, revealing some Meta executives seemed to focus on the company's growth when it came to allowing beauty filters. A 2019 internal message from a senior executive saying, quote, "I want to say for the record, I don't think it's the right call given the risk. As the parent of 2 teenage girls, one of whom has been hospitalized twice in part for body dysmorphia, I can tell you the pressure on them and their peers coming through social media is intense in respect to body image." Years later, in 2025, Meta shut down all third-party augmented reality filters. The defense pushing back, saying teens generate less ad revenue for the company, and said Instagram is working to improve safety conditions for users constantly. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is expected to take the stand next week. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush, fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, The Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.